Welcome back to the Allegheny Northern in N scale. Today I'm going to do a product review and a model build for you. This is the Showcase Miniatures. It is a high rail rotary dump. These things are pretty cool. If you've ever seen them working, they're essentially a dump truck, but what they do is they have the ability to rotate, and the purpose of that is to be able to dump ballast and material on the side of the tracks rather than just forward. So, of course, they do have high rail wheels on them, and Showcase Miniatures does a lovely job with this because they give you plastic wheels. So if you put the rail wheels on your model, you can actually set this on a live track, especially in the case of DCC, and you're not going to cause a short. So this is a really nice feature to this kit. The rest of the kit, for the most part, is all metal. The chassis, the wheels, the cab. The only part that is not metal on this kit is the dump body. For some reason, they opted to go with plastic, which is not something that I've seen in their other kits, but it works fine, so it's not a major deal. They give you a set of metal wheels, rail wheels, in case you want to put them in the up position. Because I didn't do that, this set is basically an extra piece, and this back piece is the same regardless. It depends on how you glue it in place, whether it's up or down. So this model offers a lot of potential because you can build it as a standard dump truck, which I guess you could do, wouldn't be too exciting. You can build it in the up position, dumping straight back like a normal truck would, or you can build it rotated. And regardless of how you build it, all of the Showcase Miniatures kits do come with some fairly simple instructions, and I recommend that you paint as much of it as you can before you actually assemble it. It just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of these Showcase Miniatures vehicles. I think they're some of the better vehicles that are being made right now for N scale because they're modern and they're somewhat unique. It's not just it's not just a standard dump truck. It's something that's pretty cool. Okay, here's my problem with this kit, and it's actually not a problem, I guess, with the kit. It's a problem with N scale in general, and that is that we don't get kits that are positionable after you build them. So once you build your dump truck, even though you've got potentially multiple different positions it could be in, you're stuck because everything gets glued in place. Okay, well, obviously, if this was a standard build, I would have showed you step by step how I put this thing together, and I'm not doing that, so obviously I did something totally different. So you can take these instructions, set them aside. We're not going to build it the same way. First thing, and you may have gotten a sneak peek of what I did here because it sort of shifted when I was moving it around. I did not put the piston glued in place. Okay, the reason I didn't do that was I wanted the ability for the dump body to go down. All right, and in order for me to do that, I had to make hinges for the dump body. So the hinges for the dump body, and you'll notice that the tailgate here is up right now, but I can push it back into place and lock it in there. Same technique for both conditions. I used a very small piece of piano wire, and you might be able to see it if it'll focus. So there's a little piece of wire right here that holds the tailgate into its position on the dump body, one on each side, and you can probably see that one a little bit better right here. So that lets me swing that gate up and down. Okay, same deal underneath here. I'm going to set this on its side here for just a minute so you can see that. Once again, right here, if I can get it to zoom in, you can see that little piece of wire right here. And they give you nubs on both the dump body and the tailgate that you're supposed to use to glue it in place. Well, if you use that same nub with a little bit of wire, and all I did was drill it into the base there with a fine-tuned pin vise grip here with the smallest possible bit in it that I could find. So a little bit of Gorilla Glue, and this is all held together. Now, one last little piece of this model is that this dump body rotates, and obviously I wanted mine to rotate just the same. So rather than gluing this body in a fixed position, I also made small little hinges on the pivot. They're not really hinges, I guess, but let me get some light here and I'll show you what I did. And you can sort of see where those pins are, and they're flaring out on left and right side of that hole, right by where the dump body connects. And so by doing that, I made this whole bottom base swivel, so that the dump body can be rotated. And then of course, trying to do this all with just two hands is a little difficult, but I can put the piston back into place. And now, of course, my dump truck is rotated off to the side, and it's in a new position, so I can position this model in multiple different ways. Okay, why would I want to do that? Well, I'm thinking about operation in the future here, where there might be, I've seen it used where there's a situation card. So before the operating session begins, you grab a situation card. And let's say that situation card gives you a speed restriction between certain mileposts because of maintenance work. Well, now you can actually set some maintenance equipment on the track to make that scene a little more realistic. So as your train's coming through the passing siding, there is actually maintenance equipment on the track that is the reason you were going slow. So by giving this mobility, basically, I can set up different scenes for not only photographing purposes, but also for just making a little bit more realistic when I'm operating the layout. So I'm not going to be, making this an animatronic type thing where it's powered up and geared and run by a motor. That's a little bit too much for this kit. But what I am going to do is leave it so that I can set it how I want it before the session, and then just go from there. Okay, that leaves this little piece floating around when I'm not when it's not in a dump position, and I didn't want to lose it because that would be, that would sort of defeat the purpose. So I made a place to hide it. And what I did, see if I can get this out of here with one hand holding the camera and one hand not holding the camera. I made a small little secret door, so to speak, disguised as ballast, that I can pull this cover. It's not going to let me do this. I'm going to set the camera down for just a second and take this piece out. Okay, that was much easier with two hands. So I made this little box out of some scrap styrene using white glue. I just put some of the ballast that I use on my tracks on the top, and now I've got a place where when this dump body is in the lower position, I can throw the piston underneath here in the truck, and then I can set the ballast load right on top of it, and now that's stored inside, so that when I need to reposition the truck with a dump position, now I have that ability. So I took this kit a little bit further, I think, than most of you will probably want to, but it does give you some options for how you can build some of these kits. And as far as the model itself, I'm really happy with it. Like I said, Showcase Miniatures puts out some good stuff. So if you're in the market for a dump truck, for a high rail dump truck to add to your maintenance away collection, highly recommend this if you can find it. And then have fun with the build. If you got any questions on how I put this thing together, feel free to leave me a comment and I can address it when you post.